Have you ever noticed something strange in football? 22 players can be running around the pitch, but only one player usually wears a special armband. And it isn't there just to make the captain look important. That small piece of fabric has a very specific purpose, and its story goes deeper than you might think. So why do football captains wear armbands? And what does that little band actually mean? Let's break it down. First, the most obvious reason is identification. A football team has 11 players on the field, and the referee needs to know who the captain is. The captain is the player's official representative on the pitch. If the referee needs to communicate something important to the team, the captain is usually the first player they can identify. And that's where the armband becomes useful. Instead of looking at 11 players and asking, "Who's the captain?" the referee can immediately spot the player wearing the band. Simple, but extremely useful during a fast-moving match. Here's where things get interesting. Being captain doesn't mean you're automatically the best player on the team. You could have the fastest winger, the strongest striker, or the most talented midfielder, and still not be the captain. Why? Because the captain's job isn't just about football ability. It's about leadership. A captain is expected to communicate with teammates, help organize the team, keep players focused, and represent the team during important moments. When the pressure rises, the captain is often expected to stay composed and help the rest of the team do the same. That's why coaches usually choose someone they trust. Imagine a controversial decision happens during a match. Players immediately surround the referee. If everyone starts arguing, the situation can become chaotic. The captain can help control that situation. They're often the player who communicates with the referee on behalf of the team. The armband makes that person instantly recognizable. But there's an important detail. The captain doesn't get special permission to argue with the referee. They still have to follow the rules. The armband represents responsibility, not extra power. There's another moment when the captain becomes especially important. The coin toss before kickoff. Before the match begins, the captains meet with the referee. One captain chooses heads or tails. The winner gets to make the appropriate choice according to the competition's rules, such as which side to start from. It's a tiny moment, but it shows exactly why identifying the captain matters. The referee knows who represents each team. You might be wondering, why not give the captain a different jersey? Or put a giant C on their shirt? The answer is practicality. Players can change positions constantly. They can run across the entire pitch. But an armband stays visible while they move. It's easy for the referee, teammates, and even spectators to recognize. And because it's worn on the arm, it doesn't interfere with the player's normal kit. It's simple, visible, and practical. Over time, the captain's armband became more than just an identification tool. It became a symbol of leadership. When a player puts it on, they're taking on an additional responsibility. They're representing their teammates. They're representing their club or national team. And in some matches, they're representing an entire country. That's why you'll often see players take the armband seriously. For some players, becoming captain is one of the biggest honors of their career. Here's another interesting situation. What happens if the captain gets substituted? The team still needs a captain. So another player takes over the role and wears the armband. The leadership doesn't disappear just because one player leaves the pitch. The responsibility simply moves to someone else. And that's an important part of what the armband represents. It's not about the individual player. It's about the role. Another common misconception is that the oldest player automatically becomes captain. That's not necessarily true. Age can help because experience matters, but it's not a requirement. A captain might be chosen because they're experienced, respected, calm under pressure, good at communicating, or trusted by their teammates and coaching staff. In other words, the captain isn't necessarily the player with the most talent. They're the player trusted with the most responsibility. If you've watched different football competitions, you've probably noticed that captains' armbands don't always look the same. Some are simple, some have stripes, some feature competition branding, and sometimes special matches use specially designed armbands for campaigns or causes. But the basic purpose remains the same. Identify the captain and represent leadership. So the next time you're watching a football match, don't ignore that little piece of fabric around the captain's arm. Because it's doing more than you might think. It tells the referee, this is the team's representative. It tells the players, this is one of the leaders on the pitch. And it represents something every captain has to carry. A captain can't control every decision. They can't guarantee a win. They can't stop every mistake. But they can lead. They can communicate. And when the pressure becomes intense, they can help their team stay together. That's why football captains wear armbands. Not because they're the most important player, but because they're trusted to represent everyone. And that tiny band of fabric, it's one of football's simplest symbols of leadership.